Here's the fastest way to kill the rats in your garden this week without a dog or a hedgehog going into the ground alongside them. One trap on this list does the heavy lifting, and I'll get to it. Poison doesn't kill fast, it bleeds a rat slowly, and your dog finds the body. 55 years running my own place says poison's the slow option, not the fast one. So let's start with that bag in your shed. That bag says it kills rats. It doesn't tell you how, and how matters here. Anticoagulant poison works by stopping the blood from clotting. Vitamin K is what lets a wound seal itself, and this bait blocks the pathway that depends on it. So the rat doesn't drop where it stands. It bleeds internally for days, and it keeps eating, and it keeps moving through your garden the whole time it's dying. That's the part the packaging doesn't put on the front. A rat that's slow and disoriented from internal bleeding is an easy catch. Your cat catches it. A hedgehog finds the carcass under the shed. A buzzard takes it off the lawn. And whatever poison was still working on that rat is now working on them, because it doesn't stop being a poison once it's inside a second body. That's not a rare mishap. It's the normal outcome of using these products outdoors. There's data on birds of prey with liver concentrations high enough to kill them outright, and hedgehog surveys where most of the animals tested carried rodenticide residue in them. I've run my own place for 55 years, and I won't put down anything that's still working after the rat's dead. That's not pest control at that point. That's just handing the job to whatever eats next. So, no bait. What you want is a method that kills the rat outright and leaves nothing behind in the body to pass on. There are 4 that do that properly, and they don't all work the same way. First is the snap trap, but rat-sized, not the little mouse ones. Big spring bar, trigger plate. The rat goes for the bait, tips the plate, and the bar comes down across the head or neck fast enough to kill outright. Get the size and placement right, and it's an instant kill, or close to it. Get it wrong, and you don't get a dead rat. You get an injured one that learns to avoid traps for good. Second, the tunnel trap. Same spring mechanism, boxed inside a housing with narrow side openings sized for a rat. A dog's nose or a hedgehog's snout can't reach the bar. Third, the electronic trap. The rat enters a sealed chamber for the bait and gets a high-voltage shock inside that box, nothing exposed for a paw to touch. Fourth, the self-resetting gas trap, the Good Nature A24 being the one most people know. Pressurized canister, a piston that strikes the skull, then it resets itself. But that's real mechanical force, and mounted low without shielding, a curious pet or a child's fingers could reach the trigger. Follow the mounting height in the instructions. Don't treat it as optional. And here's the honest bit. A bag that says humane hasn't proven anything. Only traps tested against a real standard, NAWAC being the one worth knowing, have earned that word. Choosing the right trap only gets you so far. Wrong spot, wrong bait, and it sits there empty. So where do you actually put the thing? Not in the middle of the lawn, tempting as the open grass looks for you with a spade under your arm. Rats don't cross open ground if they can help it, because open ground is where a hawk or a cat finds them. They run the edges. Compost bin sides, the base of a wall, the lip of a greenhouse, right at a burrow entrance. A trap sitting 6 feet from any of that is a trap sitting nowhere, and it can stay untouched for weeks. Move that same trap hard against the compost bin edge, and you've put it on the actual road they use. Now the bait. Smell pulls a rat in, not the size of the meal. Peanut butter, a bit of chocolate, pea-sized smear, that's the whole job. Pile it on, and you've just fed the rat for free without it ever touching the trigger. And don't set it live on day 1 either. A new object on a rat's path spooks it, so bait it unset for several days first, let it feed without risk, and once it's coming back confidently, that's when you set the trap live. If you're only seeing a rat or two now and then, no droppings, no gnaw marks, nothing near the compost or the feed store, you may genuinely have transients passing through. But go check that compost bin edge and the base of the shed before you decide. Gnaw marks and droppings there mean a colony, not a couple of stragglers, and that changes everything about how many traps you need. Now, some shortcuts look reasonable and aren't. That's next. Let's start with glue boards, because people still think they're a legal fallback. They're not. A rat stuck to one of those tears, its own skin trying to get free, sometimes breaks a leg doing it and can take days to die of thirst or hunger. And that glue doesn't check for a rat's face before a bird's or a hedgehog's. In England, Wales, and Scotland, using one is now an offense you can be prosecuted for, up to 51 weeks inside or a fine, not a gray area. Skip it. Live cage traps get treated as the gentle option, and I understand why. Nothing dies on camera, but a rat in a cage box is stressed. It's exposed to cold or heat. It's going without water. And the rule is you check that trap within about 12 hours of sunrise and dispatch anything you catch straight away, humanely. Most people setting a cage trap in the back garden aren't set up to do that at 6 in the morning every morning, so the rat suffers for hours before anyone gets to it. I'd rather find one dead rat in a snap trap than a live one on a glue board that's been struggling for 2 days. That's not me being squeamish. That's just the honest comparison. And if someone tells you an ultrasonic box will clear the garden without any of this, no proper evidence it does in a real garden. Don't build your plan around one. Because here's the thing nobody wants to hear. Killing the rats you've got doesn't finish the job. 2 or 3 traps in a garden that's properly overrun will thin the numbers for a week, and then you'll see activity climb right back, and you'll think the traps failed. They didn't fail. There just weren't enough of them. A small number of traps against a large population only ever catches a small share each night. So if the infestation's bad, the trap count has to match it. Light problem, 3 or so traps might do it. Heavy problem, you need more out and more often. But even that only holds if you close off what's feeding them. I've run compost bins on my own place for years, and a bin with gaps in it is just a rat feed station with a lid. Wire it, base, sides, and top with galvanized mesh, and keep the drainage clear while you're at it, because a bin that can't breathe or drain just gets you a different problem. If you keep chickens, get feeders that only open when a bird stands on the pedal, not a trough sitting out all night. Pack wire wool into any gap in a wall you can fit a pencil into. Fit a blocker in the drain without choking the flow. Renting and can't wire a bin or touch the drains? Fair enough, that needs a landlord's say-so. But nothing's stopping you keeping food locked up in the ground tidy, and that alone holds a lot of the line. A minor infestation, done properly, takes about 3 weeks. A bad one can run to 3 months. I won't tell you different just to end the video neatly. One kill campaign with the food still sitting out is a win that doesn't last. Close the gaps, and it does. So, work out which trap actually suits your garden, given what moves through it and how bad things already are. And go check your compost bin edge or the shed base for gnaw marks before you buy anything. That tells you whether you've got stragglers or a colony. Set the trap, close the gaps, and let the garden go quiet.